right, we are back. We just heard from Tim Needles, and what a great opportunity to catch up with him and all of his work. And you've been waiting since Sunday for this interview, so I'm so excited we were able to bring it to you. We were supposed to be here Sunday night, but sometimes life gets in the way. But the good news is we were able to reschedule, and I'm really excited to bring Liz in. And we were able to jump on right before here, say hi, and here we are live and sharing all of the great work you're going to be doing up in Rochester.
Yes, well, thank you. It's so great to be here with you. And as always, I'm always in awe of all the work you do. So this is great.
No, and me for you as well. You continue to impact the field, and you're here with Canva. You're doing all these great things. You're publishing, you're speaking. So I know you're one of the few people who cross both the solution provider or work in the vendor floor, but also do these great sessions. Your wonderful book is behind you. You got a lot going on. So for the people who don't know you, share a little bit of who you are, your work, and what brings you to Rochester.
Sure. Well, thank you so much. I do have 20 years of experience teaching and also working as a tech integration specialist. And then I also grew into being a consultant and speaker myself. So I have Inspire Innovation with Elisabeth Bostwick, and I do keynote speaking and workshops and opportunities like that. But currently, I'm spending a lot of my time, the majority of my time, really working with Canva for Education as a Canva learning consultant. So I partnered with Canva really because it's just the ultimate ed tech tool for educators to use. And as an educator myself, I was really looking at all the different tools, and Canva was one that I really was excited to work with. So in that role, I'm able to work with schools around the world, from the UK and the Netherlands to even here in New York and California, Texas and Florida, all over. And so that's such an honor just to be able to work with educators in that capacity, because in my role, I don't ever have to sell anything. I really get to just share about the product and support teachers with instructional strategy and leveraging Canva.
And let me tell you, we weren't going to go this way because it's not about selling Canva, but I can't say how awesome it's been since in my new role as assistant superintendent, we brought Canva in on the district side for education, and it's just awesome. I use it all the time, both in my personal kind of work and in my work in branding our district and doing some great things. The background you see us is made in Canva. My Ignite presentation is made in Canva. The keynote that I'm doing is made in Canva. So it's really give a plug to it. I know they're not sponsored or anything like that. I just think it's a great resource. And what has always impressed me is the educators like yourself they have being champions. And I think that's awesome. So that's just a side. But you're also going to be doing a lot of sessions in New York. So share a little bit. I know we have a few that you're doing here. So you have Joyful Learning, 5 innovative ways to cultivate joyful learning, and many other ones. So feel free to talk about some of the work that you're doing outside of Canva in
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the joy, is that I get to bring in a lot of my own work in the role that I do. But yeah, I love being able to share about any ways that we can really deepen engagement, empower our students. And so I have my book of Take the Leap, Ignite a Culture of Innovation, which is all about how we can do just that. Reimagine learning, spark curiosity, promote student agency. But within there is also a message of cultivating a joyful learning environment. So I'm actually kind of a geek. I love neuroscience. I love learning about how the brain learns, and I love the science behind learning. And so my session on 5 innovative ways to cultivate joy, sometimes people can look at joy like it's fluff, or what is joy? Why? Even one of my neighbors is like, why does learning need to be fun? It doesn't need to be fun. It needs to be hard. Like, you got to work hard at these things. But we have to remember that people are going to demonstrate that grit and perseverance when we can also make that experience enjoyable. So it's all about how we can cultivate the culture, is really what it comes down to, is how do we build a culture so that people do feel joyful, so that they want to contribute and learn alongside one another and share their big ideas.
Yeah, and it fascinates me as well, working as a former principal and now on the district level. It's like, why do you not want to have fun? Like, who doesn't want to come to school and have fun? Yes, you incorporate the high expectations, and I think part of the work that you do in your book, it's combining that, because anytime I can't wait to go to NICE, and I've spent countless hours getting presentations. I don't think about it like, oh my God, all this work I've had to do. It's been enjoyable and it's passionate. And I think that's just in the work that you do, and in that session, which is on November 19th at 11:15. Make sure to check that out. It really talks about infusing those high expectations with that feeling. Also on the 19th, early morning, creative communication with Canva and Parent Square. So talk a little bit about that, because that's where you do get to weave in some of your experiences with some of the tools.
Right. And so actually the 19th, it's a busy day. I have 4 sessions starting at 8:45 a.m. And fortunately I was able to get 2 of my last sessions in the same room. Otherwise I had like 15 minutes to get from point A to
Oh,
point
geez.
B. So I was kind of sweating out a little bit, but I was like, well, I'll be able to wear my sneakers. I do work out. I can run.
You can get there, right?
Right. But luckily, so the creative communication with Canva and Parent Square, that's going to be a great session. And really, it's focusing on creative communication. And sometimes, as educators, we can get so caught up in sharing information. So this session is really going to be the focus is on Parent Square and how Parent Square can be utilized for communication, but also leveraging Canva for that visual communication. So we're really going to be exploring how you can leverage the 2 tools to be able to communicate with families, with your school community, your students, using those visuals too. So it's not just lengthy paragraphs of text that are going out that sometimes people might kind of glance through, but they're not necessarily gaining all that information. So visuals are important.
Awesome. And then you said you have packed house. Now this one I was like, whoa, this is awesome, because I'm doing a session very similar, and I was like, did I click on mine? But I'm like, this is so important. I'm gonna go and totally like borrow some stuff, because it's like I like to learn too, because I talk a lot about this, and seeing what your work, I can't wait to see and get another perspective, because I think one of my sessions is called From Consumption to Creation too. And I think that's what always has inspired me about the work you do. It's about getting students to create. So what's that session going to be about?
So that session is they are a corporate sponsor of NiceGate. So that's going to be a Canva focused session. So really, how do we leverage Canva? Of course, I'll be incorporating my own knowledge and skill sets to shift from consumers to creators and empowering students, but we're really going to be looking at it through the lens of Canva in that case. And really, how do we scaffold that? So it focuses on everything from activating prior knowledge to supporting executive functioning. How do we get our students to demonstrate learning and also engage in impactful reflection? So that's what we'll be hitting on. And then, of course, depending on the number of people, we do get people into Canva. I do like, I'm kind of a little bit of a risk taker where I'm like, oh, we're just going to give it a try. But I do want to be able to get people in. And so sometimes people will shy away from doing like a collaboration activity because they're not sure what it will look like. I'm pretty good with even on the fly duplicating anything in Canva so I can get everybody in, even if I have to do like 4 separate groups and dividing people up by birthdays. But my goal is to always get people to be hands-on with
Okay.
everything I do.
And did I read earlier when I was reading back through, you're doing an AI session as well with Canva?
I am, yeah. So Canva does have its Magic Studio. So it does have Magic Write and all of the Magic Studio features. So we'll be hitting on that. That one's completely interactive. So I do a little bit of sharing up front, and then it's almost like a I do, you do, we do type of situation. But with the last 2 sessions that we just discussed, it also provides differentiation, allowing people to kind of explore at their own pace too. So I always try to think of putting my teacher hat on and just what I would be doing with students. And also when I worked as a tech integration specialist, like how do I work with adult learners and really get people engaged? So that's always the goal.
That's a busy day. So that's another one on the 19th. That's at 2:45 on the 19th. So you are gonna that evening need to relax, chill out, and enjoy yourself for sure. And
Yeah.
I really like reading through some of the stuff that you're doing, and I know your book. It's really sparked some of the work that you do. I know Anne at Flip and a lot of other folks who do this work that drove the keynote about being stronger together, partnering with solution providers, because you're not vendors. You provide the tools that allow educators in the classroom to reach their full potential. And I think that's awesome. And I really appreciate that. I definitely have these marked down for sure. But with your busy day, where and what are you looking to learn going to NiceGate? When you leave Tuesday or whenever it is you're leaving, what are some of the things you hope that you leave with in the learning space?
That's a great question. So your sessions, I will say, definitely piqued my interest. I haven't looked yet to see if I can develop a matrix of where I can go. And of course, my
So it
sneakers.
should make a tool for that.
But yeah, I always honestly, I love going to sessions where teachers are also facilitating sessions. I like hearing directly from teachers who are in the classroom, what's working, what's not working, what are they doing with ed tech tools or even strategies. And then I'm also somebody who really loves leadership. So I love going to leadership strands and hearing about what that looks like. So I kind of like to know a little bit of everything, and just being able to connect and learn from others.
So you said you're a little bit of a risk taker. What's a risk that professional risk that you've taken recently, or that you would like to share? Because I think we don't talk about that enough in our profession, and they think like, oh, these things just happen, but no, it takes maturation and learning. So for those out there who are like, yeah, I don't know if she's a risk taker, tell us something.
Oh, well, I probably have quite a few things, but I'll share a couple things. I will share as a classroom teacher. I was always the type of teacher who was going to try something, even if I didn't know everything about it. For example, I earned a grant to purchase Dash and Dot robotics for my class.
Oh, wow.
So that was amazing. And so I got to utilize those. And I watched just enough to know how to turn them on, enough to get them started. But I'm also a firm believer in guided inquiry. And so that was a situation where I really turned it over to our students to really learn. And what I found is that sometimes our students who might not always shine in the math or ELA or those academic areas, they really did shine when it came to exploring coding. And then we got to shift to more student leadership, and everybody had a different leadership role. And I loved being able to see certain students light up when they had the opportunity to share how to do the next mission or how to solve a code that another student might have felt frustrated on. And I'll share another example. I don't remember exactly which ed tech tool it was at the time, but I was using an ed tech tool, and I wasn't necessarily going to try it at the moment, but I knew I had this some kind of simmering in the back mind. And then my principal came in, and we always had a good relationship working together. And I was like, oh, he's going to think this is awesome. So I'm like, we're going to do it now. And so we did. And it actually went incorrectly because I think I went to the platform, but sometimes how you have to go directly to the site, but then take students elsewhere.
Yep.
But what we did is we did a pause. We did a growth mindset discussion about sometimes we need to slow down. We can readjust on something, and it turned out great. So we ended up getting in, but sometimes we just learn through those processes too.
Absolutely. And I think that's the learning you remember when you take that risk, where you learn from it and then you just build on it. It's like the yes and I know we kind of quickly touch on it, but before we go, I want to again give a plug for the book, Ignite a Culture of Innovation. Will that be in the bookstore?
I don't know that it is, but I will be bringing copies with me. So I typically run some giveaways at sessions that I do too. So we'll be doing that. But yeah, that book really is a work of my heart. It really encompasses a lot of what I've learned about leadership as being a teacher leader, and how do you, even as a teacher, how do you create that culture of innovation? Because a lot of times people think, my district won't allow this. I can't do this. I can't do that. But you can start small and develop those relationships within your school. You can be a leader in any role. And of course, you can empower your students to be leaders. So that's really my focus.
Awesome. Well, thank you for jumping on. If you don't follow her Twitter handles on her side over here, her website's below. If you're not able to get a copy in the bookstore, go to Amazon. If you go to her website or Twitter handle or X handle, there's a direct link to the book as well. It's a great resource. And as she said, giving some away for her session. So don't miss any of her 4 sessions. And I look forward to you heading up Saturday, did you say?
I will be there on Saturday afternoon. Yes.
All right. Same with me. I'm picking up Carl Hooker from the airport at 3, and we're heading over and trivia night Saturday night. So I look forward to catching up and learning from you throughout the weekend.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you soon. And I can't wait to learn from you.
Likewise.
All right. Have a good night. We'll see you in Rochester.